Where did you like to play as a child? As a playground designer and educator over the last decade, I ask this question a lot. It helps us instantly reflect on a simpler time as a child. We all know we live in very different times today, and the current generation of children are experiencing a childhood like no other in history. Anyone here above the age of 30 would agree. Children are playing outdoors less. So they're having less freedom, less physical activity, and becoming more unwell, with the World Health Organization declaring an emergency on the state of children's physical activity. And out of 146 countries, ranking Australia at 140th. So as parents and caretakers, what can we do about it? We all want to protect children from harm, and we should. But when does protection move to overprotection? As a father myself, I know that protection comes from a place of love. But it's in recent times, it seems like we've moved from protecting children from mostly physical harm into a realm of protecting children with what feels like everything, including disappointment, disagreements, and failure. Now, I'm all for protecting children from harm, but we have to ask ourselves, what's the cost to that child later in life? Because it's through dealing with setbacks and failures that turn us into a resilient adult. And it's by overcoming failures independently where we learn self-fulfillment. A child's intrinsic motivation is to play, is to explore, experience, and experiment. It's where they learn not just about themselves, but they learn about the world around them. They learn about their strengths and equally their weaknesses. And it's within this learning where they become a happy, healthy, resilient adult of tomorrow. Take this seed. The growth of this seed is determined by the environment in which it grows. If it does not get sun, soil, and water, it will fail to reach its full potential. So, what environments are we creating for our children to grow? If we are constantly standing in front of our children to protect them from bumps and bruises, getting dirty, getting wet, and even getting cold, we are blocking their sun for them to grow. We need to stop doing the growing for them. As a playground consultant, designer, and educator here in Australia and internationally, I've been fortunate enough to come across 3 components that are integral for creating environments for children to thrive. Just as the seed needs sun, soil, and water, our children need time, freedom, and possibilities. Time. Imagine the impact on a childhood experience if a child spent just half the amount engaged in outdoor play as they do engaged in a screen. With research in 2015 finding that children younger than 10 are spending an average of 4.5 hours a day engaged in screen time. And as they move into the teen years, it's plus 7 hours. And that's not schoolwork, that's not homework, that's recreational screen time. That's shocking. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the anti-screen guy. My children get screens. But the priority is play. Freedom. They need freedom to engage in the types of play, how they choose, and the independence that comes along with that. Independent children make for independent adults. And who doesn't want to create independent adults, right? And thirdly is possibilities. Possibilities to engage with things within their environment that can be used in different ways. So many of us here have suffered the torment of giving a child a gift only for the child to throw out the gift and be more interested in the box. Why? Because it is possibilities. It's the pirate ship, it's a lemonade stand, it's the cave. It gets them moving, not just physically, but socially and emotionally. As a child diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, I completely get the importance and need to move. As a child, I was what adults referred to as busy, even too busy. My busyness spilled into the classroom, and sure enough, my parents received that call. Lucas needs to be tested. He's constantly looking out the window, he's rocking on his chair, and his feet are always swinging. Within days, my 8-year-old self, I was diagnosed and medicated, and my feet stopped swinging. It took me 9 years after school to discover what I need in my environment to thrive. To focus and understand concepts, I need to move. That's why this is so hard. this little container. To learn, I need to be active. And if I can build something up to break it down, to understand it, even better. So it's no surprise today I find myself creating environments for all children to move. My interest in play began when I started working full-time as an outdoor educator. I got to see firsthand how some children were anxious and nervous about getting wet, getting dirty, being challenged. And then on the other hand, I got to see the types of activities and interactions that spark curiosity and adventure in their eyes. I wanted to make it my mission to ignite that spark in as many children as possible. So I founded a company designing, building play environments for all children to thrive. And it can be basic. This is a 20-foot container, gracefully plonked in the middle of a piazza at a convention centre. There's 6 tons of mulch, 100 hay bales, and 50 trees. That container was filled with rocks and sticks and pallets and saws and hammers and drills. A whole lot of junk. Yes, it was messy. Yes, it was risky. See those nervous parents? Ooh. But it was freedom. Freedom because of the possibilities they had access to. This is the same container we sent down to a community of children recovering from the worst bushfires in recent memory. As the container got delivered and I opened up the doors, I stood on the outskirts of that beautiful chaos. And one boy came running past. And he said, "I can't believe you're letting us do this." I said, "Do what?" He said, "Let us have fun." Let us have fun? As parents and caretakers, if we endeavour to create environments where children get to have a childhood experience through time, freedom, and possibilities, our first step is permission. Permission not only just to have a childhood, but permission for ourselves to take a step back. Trust in their decision making and their capabilities. You remember earlier when I asked you where you played as a child? Who thought outdoors? Yeah? And who thought a tree? And put your hand up if you got hurt sometimes. Yeah. And I know you're all sitting there smiling. And that tells me two things. It tells me it was a memorable experience and a positive one. And it's that experience paired with nature that has created that positive memory that you're reflecting on right now. And that tree you're engaging with offers a beautiful illustration for how children learn through challenge. As the child engages with that tree and they start to climb, their little bodies are flooded with positive endorphins running through their bodies that motivate them to climb higher, reach beyond what they thought was possible. And that effort is rewarded when they look up and see the whole world of new possibilities open up around them. And when they fall, because they will, because we all know that's a part of life. It's those same positive endorphins coursing through their bodies that inspire them to stand up, dust themselves off, and try again. We all know it is the victories that we have in life during the most challenging of times that are the most rewarding. And every time we overprotect our children, we're stripping away that reward. And we're stealing their joy of self-fulfillment. Free play offers this beautiful arena where they can discover themselves. Children need to learn through doing, not only by being told, and not only by being shown. It's within this exploration where they discover and will create the learning of becoming a respectful, compassionate, and resilient adult. And this is a building block of well-being in later life. We all have a responsibility to create environments for all children to have childhood experiences through time, freedom, and possibilities. And we can't do the growing for them, but we can help them to stay curious and to keep their feet swinging.